Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Minnesota House of Representatives Transportation, Finance, and Policy Committee. We have a long agenda today, and we'll get into that in just a minute here after we take the roll to establish a quorum. Mr. Dodge.
Chair Hornstein.
Present.
Hornstein present. Vice Chair Cagle.
Present.
Cagle present. Representative Petersburg.
Present.
Petersburg present. Representative Barr.
Here.
Barr present. Representative Bernardi. Representative Bernardi.
Present.
Bernardi present. Representative Elkins.
Present.
Elkins present. Representative Frederick.
Frederick present.
Frederick present. Representative Hausman.
Present.
Hausman present. Representative Heinrich.
Present.
Heinrich present. Representative Kosnick. Representative Kosnick. Representative Mason. Representative Mason. Representative Murphy.
Murphy present.
Murphy present. Representative Nelson.
Present.
Nelson present. Representative Olson.
Present.
Olson present. Representative Richardson. Representative Torkelson.
Present.
Torkelson present. Representative West. Representative West. Representative West.
Here.
West present. There is a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge. Our next item of business is approval of the minutes from Thursday, March 12th, 2021. Is there a motion, Representative Petersburg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move the approval of the March 12th minutes for this committee.
Thank you, Representative Petersburg. Is there discussion to the motion to approve the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion prevails. Thanks, Representative Petersburg. So members, as I mentioned at the outset, we have 9 bills today, and no, it's not my style here to rush bills through, particularly several that I think are worthy of a lot of discussion, or some discussion certainly. And so we're going to take, there's the bills I'm going to consider here at 5 o'clock after we recess at 2:30 will be the House files related to small cities and township funding. Representative Olson has a couple of bills, House File 1147 and 1148, and also House File 1620 from Representative Lippert. And just to give members some context, we are going to work through a few more policy bills this week that need to make deadline, but we're also going to start the process of hearing bills that have some finance implications. We'll lay those finance bills over for possible inclusion so that we can hear as many of those proposals as possible from both sides of the aisle, actually, before we mark up our bill after the Easter Passover break. So that's the plan for the rest of the week. And again, we're going to have our target next week and then really start to roll up our sleeves and do the work on the finance piece of this bill. And so we'll have quite a few bills next week as well. So with that, our first item of business today is House File 2172, Representative Wolgamott, a veteran of this committee. Welcome back. I will move that your bill, House File 2172, be re-referred to the Committee on Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law. And there are some data provisions in this bill that they will need to review. And I also understand you have an amendment, but first of all, welcome back to the committee, Representative Wolgamott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. It's good to be back in transportation and see some familiar faces. I do miss being on this committee. You know, there's always the next biennium. So good to be back. Thank you very much.
Well, we miss you too, but we know you're doing good work at other places. So, Representative Wolgamott, you have an A21 amendment. Would you like to incorporate that now?
Yes, please. It's just getting the bill in the shape that I would like it in.
Okay, could you do a quick explanation of what the amendment does?
Absolutely.
We can also have House Research do that as well.
Yeah, I'll just defer to House Research. Thank you.
Mr. Burris, to the A21 amendment.
Mr. Chair, members, the A21-0086 amendment is a delete all. It would eliminate an account that is in the underlying bill and a statutory appropriation. Both the underlying bill and the delete all amendment has some data practices as well as incident reporting requirements. And then in the delete all, there's a fine revenue distribution provision that replaces the account and statutory distribution or statutory appropriation, excuse me, and that's found in section 2 of the delete all.
Okay, well, members, this is just a way for Representative Wolgamott to get the bill in the shape you would like us to consider it in, and many of the items that Mr. Burris mentioned, I think, will be under discussion when we take up the bill. So, is there any discussion to the A21? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. This is a motion to approve the A21 amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion prevails. And we have the House File 2172 as amended before us, Representative Wolgamott.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to start my presentation with a brief video.
Okay, let's cue up the video, staff, and we'll take it from there.
School bus stop arms exist to protect children as they are picked up or dropped off at school or home. We'll examine requirements for vehicle drivers regarding school bus stop arm safety, how these requirements are enforced, the consequences for violations, and how you as a motorist can help keep our children safe. In Minnesota, school buses make at least 10,000 trips daily. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, children are 8 times safer riding a bus to school than any other vehicle. Their safety while getting on and off the bus is crucial. And this is why stop arms were implemented decades ago. Yet, violation of laws regarding stop arms continue to occur on a daily basis, endangering our children statewide. Every year, we hear stories of children being hit or nearly hit by vehicles not obeying the stop arm law.
It was my first stop in the afternoon. I had signaled as I turned the corner, activated my 8 ways, opened the door, the stop arm's out, the red lights are on, and the children were departing the bus.
And my son came running in the house and said that Evelyn was hit by a car.
Bus was stopped, stop arm down and everything, and as she's crossing the street, there was an oncoming vehicle. The bus driver honked the horn, yelled Evelyn's name out the window.
The car was not going to stop.
And Evelyn stopped and looked back at the bus driver and then kept going because she didn't understand what was going on.
And she hesitated just enough for the car not to fully hit her. But she did keep going a little bit and the car clipped her.
Knocked her to the ground. The rear tire ran over her foot.
I'm very grateful because if Mickey, the bus driver, did not stop her or slow her down, she would have been right in front of the car.
It's eye-opening having first-hand experience with your kid getting hit by a car by someone failing to stop at a stop arm for a bus.
It was the next day, she didn't want to ride the school bus because she didn't feel safe. So it took a while for her to get back to normal. It was very hard.
It's stories like these that reinforce the point that everyone needs to pay attention to their surroundings and always stop for school buses.
thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members, for taking a moment to watch that video. As the father of an 8th grader, it's always been one of my greatest joys. I know that many of you have kids and grandkids, nieces and nephews. It's such a joy bringing your child to the school bus, the excitement, spending time with friends. But that feeling can turn to gut-wrenching tragedy because we have too many drivers on our roads who blow right past our school buses. That's unacceptable, Mr. Chair, members, and that's why I'm bringing this bill before you today. We've seen too many injuries and fatalities due to other drivers passing a school bus while the emergency lights are flashing and the stop arm is extended. So the goal of this bill is to deter illegal school bus passings by equipping more buses in our state with stop arm cameras. According to a Minnesota Department of Public Safety 2019 one-day survey, 2,376 drivers reported 625 stop arm violations. Over the course of a 70-day school year, those figures add up to more than 106,000 stop arm violations and potential for serious injury or death for Minnesota kids waiting at bus stops. The National Transportation Safety Board recommended the installation of stop arm cameras on school buses and noted they can deter drivers from illegally passing stopped school buses. Current Minnesota penalties for illegally passing a stopped school bus include a $500 misdemeanor to the driver, or if the driver is unknown, a $100 petty misdemeanor to the owner of the vehicle. This bill, Mr. Chair and members, increases the petty misdemeanor penalty to $300 and directs $250 to the school district where the violation occurs for the purchase, installation, and maintenance of stop signal alarm camera systems. There's a growing coalition of groups that have coalesced around the idea of equipping school buses with cameras to protect our children, including school groups, safety advocates, and law enforcement. I would love to have them all here to testify today, but in the interest of time, we've included their letters of support in your packets. So that's why I brought this bill forward. That's what this bill does. And with your permission, Mr. Chair, I'd like to turn over to Jean Solier, the CEO of Bus Patrol, which is one of the companies that install the cameras on buses to show you the technology available to assist law enforcement.
Thank you, Representative Wolgamott, and welcome to the committee, Mr. Soulier. Please state your name for the record.
Hi there, I'm Jean Soulier. I'm the CEO and founder of Bus Patrol. Thank you for having me today.
Please proceed with your testimony.
Wonderful. I'm a Canadian tech entrepreneur who spent most of his career worrying about how trucks moved our things more efficiently until I found out that school buses were being passed at the rate they are. And since starting our company and me moving to America, we've become the most deployed safety technology on the planet for school buses. We're on over 15,000 buses already with a lot more to go. I've also become an advisor to a variety of legislators as they pass legislation like what's being proposed today. And I've learned some pretty interesting lessons that I want to share with you all. One of the things about school bus safety, which is pretty unique, even though 80% of the illegal passes happen in more urban centers where there's more traffic, the deaths, almost 100% of them happen in more rural roads where the speed is much higher and the survivability of these accidents is next to none. So building a program that actually works requires that every bus be covered. And in order to do that effectively, what we've designed is a program that puts the cost on the vendors to go out there and install 100% of the fleet, removing the financial barriers that have kept the school bus kind of in this archaic technology world. You sit in your car, it's a spaceship, but when you sit in a school bus, it looks not much different from the one we sat in when we were kids. So we're trying to change that. And by making the amendments to the bill as suggested and passing it as is, what you will be doing is ensuring that 100% of your children are protected. But also what you'll be doing is you'll be making sure that the program changes behavior. When 100% of the school buses in any community are covered with this kind of AI technology, every single person that passes gets caught. And what happens then is we start to instill the same reflex that we see when we're driving down the interstate and we see a trooper. What's the first thing we do? We hit our brake and then we look at our speed. It's instinctive. What we're really trying to do here is make sure that we instill that same reflex in drivers. The hesitation in that little girl that saved her life, we're hoping to instill that same reflex in drivers so that their hesitation can save lives. We can change behavior. We can make the journey to and from school a safer place. Like I said, there's no one in the world that has had more experience in deploying these programs. And I'd love to answer any questions y'all may have. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Soulier. Are there questions? Okay, Representative Petersburg and Mr. Soulier, we have an interesting system. I learned this. I was at a meeting of various legislators. I'll get to you in a second. This is my introduction to Representative Petersburg. Now his curiosity is piqued. I was at a meeting with legislators and we had some people from the Ontario Provincial Parliament, and the person introduced himself as the minority critic. And so Representative Petersburg has that role on our committee, which I love the Canadian system because we call it the ranking member, but you know, he's a cooperative guy, but in some ways he's also the critic. So our minority critic, Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And really, this is about, are there other testifiers? Because if there are, this really is for the bill itself.
I think Representative Wolgamott, do you have other testifiers?
You know, as I mentioned, Mr. Chair, there are plenty of other people who support this, and I included their letters in the packets. But for the interest of time and out of respect for members of this committee and your busy agenda, I only have one testifier today. So
okay. So let's do this. Representative Barr, is your question to the testifier to the bill also?
Bill also, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, why don't we just get going? Thank you, Mr. Soulier. I don't think we have any questions of you, but Representative Petersburg, why don't you proceed?
So there are a couple of different questions. Whenever we get to videotaping people's performance and so forth, we get into the idea of private data versus public data. My understanding from talking with bus companies and so forth, this is kind of a 180-degree video camera that gets turned on when the arms go out to record anything that might happen. How are we handling the data after it is processed? In other words, is that something that's destroyed, eliminated, etc.? And then the second follow-up question is how did you determine the fee penalty from $300? I'll ask that question a little bit later, but first, just a question on regards to the data and privacy issue.
If I may, I can answer that.
Okay, Representative Petersburg, I think Mr. Soulier will answer that.
Fine.
Mr. Soulier?
Yeah, no problem. So essentially what's happening is we have an artificial intelligence engine that's on the bus. And every time the bus stops, it's plugged into the telemetry of the bus. So when the lights flash, we know to look. That stop arm event, that call it 30-second moment in time, is what's transferred over to the cloud to be processed to determine whether an evidence package can be built from it. Once an evidence package is built, it's shared with a law enforcement technician or officer to approve it. If the ticket is approved, then it's sent to the offender and then follows its course. If it is disapproved, everything is purged from the system in an automated fashion, and the data is used exclusively in support of the enforcement of the traffic laws in the jurisdictions that we serve. Also, everything is built with the latest cloud cybersecurity and meets all the privacy legislation that currently exists in supporting of automated enforcement, as well as the FERPA requirements that schools are under.
Okay.
Representative Petersburg, you had a second question. I think it's appropriate for you to ask that now.
Yeah, thank you. It revolves around just the fee structure for the fine itself. I'm assuming, I'm not into public safety knowledge as well, but I'm assuming going from $100 to $300 doesn't change any threshold for going from a petty misdemeanor on up to something else. So that's one part of it. The other question is, it seems to me, if I remember right, the $100 that was the fine was going into the department's coffers. Now it's only $50 that's going there, and 250 is going to bus companies and so forth. So the question is, what made you choose 300? And will there ever be a time in which all the buses are covered, and so there may be an excess amount into this fund?
Would that be for Representative Wolgamott perhaps, or I don't know if if that's one for Mr. Soulier?
I can
Probably
go
Wolgamott.
with that, Mr. Chair. Yep. So we went with that amount because that's a maximum that's allowed for a petty misdemeanor.
Okay.
And then we're doing that we made that increase just so that we can generate revenue to the schools for installation on this. We are hopeful that this would be as cost neutral to the state as possible. We picked a number that wants to create just an adequate revenue stream. I mean, there's no magic number. If you have a magic number in mind, I'm more than opening it, but that's just what, based on the conversations I've had, consultation with other places that this has happened throughout the state, that just seemed to be the right number that worked to achieve the goals that we're trying to here. Unless Mr. Soulier has anything else to add.
Yeah, I would just say that the fine is in line with the legislation that's being passed across the country, and essentially keeping these programs well funded. And again, kind of bring back to my example in my testimony, covering 100% of the buses. There are many buses in rural areas that would never issue enough tickets to get the technology. So the core thought and the underlying principle here is safety and making sure that 100% of the buses get this technology. And that's the priority.
Follow up, Mr.
Representative
Chair?
Petersburg?
Yeah,
Representative
thank you.
Petersburg?
No, I think that makes all sense. It's kind of intuitively what I anticipated. However, it does seem like we reduced the fine going to the department from $100 to $50, while also increasing their work in regards to issuing the tickets and so forth. So is there a negative cost reflected in any kind of fiscal note or anything?
Representative Wolgamott?
I would defer that to House Research.
Maybe Mr. Lee?
Mr. Chair and members, yeah, so the fiscal note for this bill came in with the original version of the bill, so before the DE amendment was adopted. So once this bill gets re-engrossed, a new fiscal note request will come out. There will be some changes in terms of the assumed impact of the fee amount. To your question specifically about potential foregone revenues, in both the original version of the bill and the Senate version of the bill that also has the $300 fine, there is some calculation of those. I don't want to say what a potential fiscal note would be. I would need the agency to finish that fiscal note, but it would be impacts in the judiciary budget area that would relate to the general fund, but also touching potential transportation funds like the trunk highway fund.
Thank you.
If I can add, Mr. Chair, the increase.
Wolgamott.
Thank you. We also predict that the increase in the number of tickets will cover the lower amount to the local jurisdictions.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes, please, Mr. Soulier.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a data point. So in Pennsylvania in 2018, across 16,000 buses, there were 667 tickets issued by the standard manual process of police cars catching people. So when we did our pilot on 2 buses in Allentown over a month, we found 205 violations. So the odds of a police officer being present when this happens is infinitely small. And automated enforcement is going to increase the number of tickets, therefore increase the education and the revenue streams. So notwithstanding any reduction in distribution, it will represent a significant increase in overall revenue for all the parties involved.
Thank you, Mr. Soulier. Representative Barr, and then Representative Torkelson, and then Representative Heinrich. Representative Barr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I don't know whether the bill author or Mr. Soulier, either one can answer this, I suppose, or address it. We used to, well, there was a time maybe 20 years ago, the state was issuing, had implemented some red light cameras, and those were found to be unconstitutional because the officer wasn't actually line of sight, didn't actually see the violation, and yet you had it on camera. This is catching it on camera, and I'm kind of curious if you're just going to take another stab at getting the court to reverse itself, or is there a different thought process behind this, a different legal angle? I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea of making our kids safe. Please don't misconstrue that. But I do want to try and avoid as many future court challenges as possible before we spend a lot of money in that and have to go tear it all back out again.
Good question, Representative Barr. Would either the author or testifier take a shot at that one?
Mr. Chair, I'll defer to the testifier.
Okay, Mr. Soulier?
Yeah, I would just say that Bus Patrol funds 100% of the capital to these programs wherever we go. So we're writing significant checks to deploy technology, and we are also on the same page. We want to make sure that when these tickets are issued, that we're not at risk of contestation and reversal of fines, and that everything that we are going to be doing up to implementation is going to be to make sure that we draft this with your partnership in a way that can be accepted by the courts for your state laws. So we are very sensitive to that, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Representative Barr, did you have a follow-up?
Mr. Chair, there we go. Sorry, Mr. Chair, I don't really have a follow-up, but it doesn't sound like I actually got an answer to the question from either one. I mean, I understand being sensitive and whatnot, but red light cameras have been deemed unconstitutional in Minnesota by our state court. And I didn't know if there was a different angle they were using, because it's videotaping an action that is later transferred to a law enforcement agent who will then write the ticket, not being present. And that was what the problem was. And it seems to me that this is exactly the same thing as that was. So like I said, I did not hear an answer to that. And Mr. Chair, could you tell me what the path of this bill is? Is it going to go to judiciary after here?
Yes. Representative
All
Barr,
right,
thank you. I was going to even suggest that that would hopefully be something that would be very much scrutinized in the Judiciary Committee. That's where it's going from here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So I think constitutional questions are legitimate here, of course, and but that is definitely an area that I think will demand exploration, in addition to some of the data concerns that Representative Petersburg had brought up. So again, important to talk about them in this committee, but they'll certainly be very relevant to the next committee. Okay, I have Representative Torkelson, Representative Cagle, and Representative Elkins. Representative Torkelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think my first question is for the testifier. That has to do with the connectivity of this data. You mentioned it going to the cloud. Does that require a internet connection from the bus? Can you explain that a little more?
Yeah,
Mr. Soulier. Mr. Soulier, please.
Yes, it is a cellular connection that's used. We're compliant to a multitude of cellular networks. We don't run on the public internet. We run on private networks that are built for us, as an example with FirstNet. When a bus goes in a rural area of the province and the connectivity is weak, then when it gets to a stronger one, the system is smart enough to know when to queue up these events and send them over to the Amazon Web Services backend that's supporting all of this.
So,
Representative Torkelson, and by the way, I have Representative Heinrich next.
If I may, Mr. Chair, so that data then is held temporarily on the bus?
That's correct. So on the bus, there is an encrypted, call it an industrial computer that we equip the bus with. It has a modem connectivity that is, again, using encryption on our private network to gather evidence and then transmit it over the cloud.
Thank you. If I may ask another quick question, Mr.
Representative Torkelson, proceed.
Thank you. This would be of the author. Have you had a conversation with law enforcement? I know we've looked at the possibility of traffic cameras in work zones, and law enforcement has some serious reservations because of the fact that they'd be issuing tickets remotely.
Representative Wolgamott.
So the question was just if I've been in conversation with law enforcement.
Correct.
Yes, I have, with law enforcement as well as with DPS. And it's up to law enforcement to make the decision whether enough evidence exists to issue the ticket. This just gives them more data to be able to keep our kids safe, and they will have that discretion whether or not to issue a ticket.
Well, Mr.
Representative
Chair.
Torkelson.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Wolgamott, but they also have to have somebody that sits down and looks at these tapes. And there's not been a willingness to commit to those extra expenses in other areas. And I would hope that you would be discussing this with law enforcement. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Torkelson. Representative Heinrich is next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is for Mr. Solier. I was just wondering if he could give us some ideas of cost for installation and hardware, and then if there's like ongoing subscription fees or setup fees for the cloud software. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Solier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Absolutely. There are no costs, no upfront costs at all to any partner, whether that be a municipality, a city, a school district. These programs are funded exclusively out of collected ticket revenue, and Bus Patrol invoices a percentage of that collected ticket revenue. So the government is never in any risk of losing any money on the programs whatsoever. And that includes ongoing maintenance, as well as the reimbursement of fees. And there was a question earlier about law enforcement. So law enforcement, to give an example, typically for every 1,000 buses, it would represent no more than 2 full-time equivalents. So we're talking about a few hours a week in most cases as we deploy this, and all of the hours spent by law enforcement in support of the program are reimbursed and paid for by the program. We've designed this to really remove all the financial moats that exist to encourage participation and really encourage the rapid deployment of the technology.
Representative Heinrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm wondering, Mr. Solier, if you could give us a cost for installing the hardware and the hardware cost into a bus. We're taking maybe one bus. What would that run?
We don't charge anything. We charge, it's all a percentage of revenue. So we charge a percentage of collected revenue and we pay for all those costs. There's never any upfront costs. Now, what's the value of the equipment that we put on a bus? It's roughly $5,000 of equipment up front, plus another $1,500 of installation. But the operating of the program requires a lot more than that. And again, Bus Patrol takes on 100% of the costs, whether it be labor, paper, maintenance, equipment, connectivity, data, all of those things are all covered by the program.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Heinrich. Okay, we have 2 more questions. Representative Cagle, and then our last one is from Representative Elkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is kind of similar to my flaggers bill last year. And so from my understanding, bus drivers are already given the ability to cite people who don't obey the stop signs. And so what this would do then is allow them just a little bit of evidence. I think when, the kiddos are getting off the bus, we want to make sure the bus driver is paying attention to the kids and not trying to, grab license plates of every car that comes by. And so, this would give me a little bit of peace of mind. I've got some time before my kiddo goes off to school, but I think that, once I see her getting on and off the bus, this would give me a little peace of mind. And so I think, it's really already aligned with what we're allowing bus drivers to do. And this just really gives a little bit of support to those bus drivers. So just a comment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have Representative Elkins, and then I'll take one final comment from Representative Koznick or question. Representative Elkins.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And so it might be a question for Mr. Burris, but my recollection on the red light camera law wasn't that the use of red light cameras is unconstitutional. It's just that it's not authorized by state law, which requires that a crime be observed by a person in addition to the camera. And as Representative Cable was just observing, in this case, the camera is recording the same thing that the driver sees anyway. So this wouldn't come into into account in any case. So if Mr. Burress can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my recollection.
Mr. Burris, on the constitutionality of the legislation.
Mr. Chair, Representative Elkins, the case that comes to mind for me as well was not really discussed in constitutional terms. It was the Coleman case that dealt with the powers of Minneapolis or a local unit of government to do automated enforcement under state statutes. I'm not aware of a separate constitutional discussion of that authority.
Yeah.
Thank
you,
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Burris.
That's my recollection as well. It's the same as Mr. Burris.
Okay. Thank you. And our last question or comment comes from Representative Koznick. Representative Koznick, are you connected here? I see a hand, but no Representative Koznick. Okay, well, if we can get him connected here before the end of the conversation on this bill, we'll call on him. But is there any further discussion to this House file? 2172. Okay. Final comments from our author, and then Representative Koznick. One last. I see your face now. Are you connected?
Can you hear me? I was my
video's
locked up.
We're not going to do anything on this bill without hearing from you. So, if you have a question or a comment.
More just a quick comment, and I apologize. My video was locked up. My mute was locked up. But you know, I really appreciate the.
We've all been there.
I'm in the state office building, so I appreciate the intent of the bill. You know, keeping our kids safe is obviously paramount. I just need to say that I have concerns, and I'm sure this will get more vetted out in the judiciary. But essentially, what I've heard the testifier say is there's a profit incentive on the number of tickets that are written to the supplier of the technology. Sure, the schools will get some of this money, but I have real concerns, and I'm sure people on the judiciary will as well, that the more tickets you write, the more funds and revenue stream will be generated. So that's a big concern for me, aside from the other things. And I guess we're just laying this over, so I won't be voting, but that is a big concern that I think needs to be publicly stated.
Well, Representative Koznick, I think we're planning to move this bill to, and I don't know if that's your intention, Representative Wolgamott, to judiciary at this point. So, and it may stay there. I mean, they may want to take a look at it. I don't know if what the path would be after that.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, may I just add something to that last comment really quickly?
Sure.
Representative Koznick, just to give you some comfort, Bus Patrol does not approve a single ticket. So the concept is to do a separation of duties where law enforcement's judgment is used and the vendor is used as a financing mechanism and to build quality evidence when these incidents occur. And that's where the separation between the approval of the ticket and the money and the vendor takes place. So we're able to enforce the law, or we're able to provide evidence to the right authority so they can enforce the law as they see fit on their territory. Just a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Soulier.
Thank you.
Representative Koznick, anything else?
No, I think I made my comments. Thank you.
Okay, good. Representative Wolgamott, final comments before we vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members, and for the safety and security of all the children across Minnesota, to help them get to school safely and soundly. I ask for your support to send this bill to the Judiciary Committee. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much, members.
Thank you, Representative Wolgamott, and thank you. I think you had a couple bills on school safety in 2019, so we appreciate your ongoing work on this issue, school bus safety. With that, members, I'll renew my motion that House File 2172 be re-referred to the Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law Committee.
Mr. Chair.
Dodge, please take the roll.
Mr. Chair, this is John. Just want to make sure I heard you correctly that it was as amended.
Oh, I'm sorry. The House File 2172 as amended. Thank you, Mr. Howe. And on that note, we'll take a roll call. Mr. Dodge.
Bernstein?
Aye.
Bernstein, aye. Vice Chair Cagle?
Aye.
Cagle, aye. Representative Petersburg?
Aye.
Petersburg, aye. Representative Barr?
No.
Barr, nay. Representative Bernardi?
Aye.
Bernardi, aye. Representative Elkins?
Aye.
Elkins, aye. Representative Frederick?
Aye.
Frederick, aye. Representative Hausman?
Aye.
Hausman, aye. Representative Heinrich?
Aye.
Heinrich, aye. Representative Kosnick?
No.
Kosnick, nay. Representative Mason?
Aye.
Mason, aye. Representative Murphy?
Murphy, aye.
Murphy, aye. Representative Nelson?
Aye. Nelson, aye.
Nelson, aye. Representative Olson?
Aye.
Olson, aye. Representative Richardson?
Aye.
Richardson, aye. Representative
Aye.
Torkelson, aye. Representative West?
No.
West, nay. There are 14 ayes and 3 nays.
Thank you very much, Representative Wolgamott and members. This bill is now on its way to Judiciary Finance. Members, we have one more bill from Representative Wolgamott. It's Representative Wolgamott Day here at the Transportation Committee. We do now have a fiscal note for this bill. So members, we will go over that note. Representative Petersburg, I just wanted to make sure that I want to check with you first here. We can hold this bill pending, more discussion of the fiscal note, or if you're comfortable discussing it here in committee, we can move it to Ways and Means. We just got this hot off the press, the fiscal note, so it had been my intention to hold it till we had a fiscal note, but we do have it now.
And Mr. Chair, if I could add, Mr. Chair,
yeah.
That the Senate, this bill was heard in the Senate, and the Senate did move it to their Finance Committee.
Okay, well, we just want to make sure again that our process is bipartisan here, and I wanted to again defer to see if Representative Petersburg had any concerns about this bill moving with the fiscal note just being issued.
Mr. Chair, let's hear the bill along with the fiscal note and then have further discussion afterwards before we.
Okay.
Before we
You know
move
what? Thank you, Representative Petersburg. I'm going to move that House File 1204 be laid over at this point for possible inclusion in a finance bill. And we do have an amendment, I believe, Representative Wolgamott. Do you want to your bill and the amendment?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll start with the amendment and then move to the bill as a whole, if that works for you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, proceed.
All right. Well, the author's amendment is pretty straightforward. It does 3 things. On line 1.10, it removes the word motor from the term recreational motor vehicle. On line 1.14, it inserts a $40 contribution to the Minnesota 100 Club Plate Special Account. And then on line 2.11, it moves the effective date to January 1st, 2022, at the request of DPS.
Okay. Is there any discussion to the amendment, the A1? Again, getting this bill in the shape the author would like it to be considered in. All those in favor of the A1 amendment, I will move it. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed. We now have House File 1204 as amended before us, Representative Wolgamott. And we will also want, in addition to the information about the 100 Club, also have some information about the fiscal note from Mr. Lee. So proceed, Representative Wolgamott.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. This bill would establish a new Minnesota 100 Club specialty license plate option for vehicles in the state of Minnesota. I want to tell you what the Minnesota 100 Club, who they are, what they do, and what we're going to do with the, if this bill gets passed, what they'll do with the revenue generated by the $40 amount that would be deposited into the newly created Minnesota 100 Club account. Created in 1972, the Minnesota 100 Club was initially created because when a first responder dies in line of duty, most people don't know is that their paycheck immediately ends on the very day of their death, leaving surviving family members with immediate struggle to pay for funeral costs, mortgage payments, car payments, groceries. Yes, even funeral costs are the responsibility of the surviving family. And although the family will eventually receive death benefits from the government, that can take up to 90 or 121 days to make that happen. Mr. Chair and members, that's unacceptable. So thankfully, the Minnesota 100 Club over the years has proudly expanded its mission, and they help cover those costs for not only for first responders, families, including firefighters, police officers, EMTs, corrections officers. When a first responder dies or is seriously injured in the line of duty, the Minnesota 100 Club has been there to help surviving families. So with the help from you, Mr. Chair and members, what the Minnesota 100 Club license plate will do is increase its revenues, which will help the club reach its goal of increasing death and serious injury benefits to first responders. And on top of that, the license plates will help increase the awareness and recognition about the club, which will in turn help to increase funding for the club, thus increase the benefits the organization can provide to our heroic first responders and their families who have had to suffer tragedy because of their service. So with that, Mr. Chair, that's a little bit background information on the bill and what it's all about, but I do have a testifier to give you more information about the Minnesota 100 Club, exactly what they do, what they offer, and why this bill is needed.
And thank you very much, Representative Wolgamott. Again, what we'll do here is take testimony and then have questions of the testifiers and the author. You have Mr. Dan Retka. Is Mr. Retka available?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Retka, welcome to the Transportation Committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Sure, thank you very much. My name is Dan Retka. I'm Assistant Fire Chief here in the Metro. I'm here to support the support for this important bill that was laid before you folks. First and foremost, thank you. And as we continue to demand more and more from our firefighters and first responders, both volunteer and career, the demands that they are facing continue to be more and more hazardous to their health, to their mental health, to their physical health, and whatnot. These men and women continue to put the uniform on day in, day out, despite this. Despite knowing that they have a 68% chance of developing life-threatening cancer, despite unforgettable trauma that they have to live with day in, day out, and even the latest, things that are going on, having to wear riot gear, ballistic gear to routine medical calls and whatnot. These plates will help fund almost immediate relief for these first responders when they're injured or, deceased. It'll also bring awareness to our firefighters and first responders. It'll bring recognition to them that they so richly deserve. So, again, in the sake of time here, I will cut my testimony short, but I just want to ask for your support on this bill. And I think it's a great deal that will provide supplemental funding for this committee or for this club. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Retka. And I believe we have another testifier, Mr. Arik Matson. Is Mr. Matson available, please?
Yes, good afternoon.
Well, welcome to the committee, Mr. Mattson. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Sure. My name is Eric Matson. I was a police officer with the city of Waseca, and last year on January 6th of 2020, I was shot in the head while working.
Hi, I'm Megan Matson. I'm Eric's wife. Minnesota 100 Club was there for us this past December for Christmas. They drove down and gave our family a nice check to help us celebrate. They've also been there calling us, checking in, seeing if we need any other support. Public safety officials face considerable danger in their day-to-day work, and this license plate is a way to recognize their efforts on behalf of the citizens of Minnesota. So we are just asking that you guys take into consideration and move forward to pass this license plate bill for the Minnesota 100 Club so other families can receive a nice gift and bring a smile to their face when we needed it and when they need it, and just to know that there's someone there to help them in need.
I want to thank both of you for your testimony and service. Very much appreciate your presence here. And I think Representative Petersburg wants to make a comment because I know he's from Waseca. Representative Petersburg.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I've been involved with working with Eric and Megan and on a different bill in regards to police officers as well. But Eric was really responding to protecting the citizens of Waseca when he was shot. And I don't know if anybody really can give the greatest thanks for supporting and for the actual sacrifice that he put forth. He is struggling through rehabilitation, but doing extremely well. It's actually beyond most people's belief. And so I think that really refers back to not only Megan's support, but the support from places like the 100 Club, as well as community around him. So I just want to say thank you to Eric for his protecting of society and protecting of our communities, and that we wish the best to him. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Petersburg. And again, thank you to both of you. I know you're a team together, Eric and Megan, and we just appreciate your presence here. We don't have any further testifiers. I know that we have Juliana Wortman, who's the executive director of the 100 Club, is available for questions, as is a staff member from the Driver and Vehicle Services, Thomas DeVita. Mr. DeVita, I think, is always here when we have these special plates, so he's available for questions as well. And we also have Mr. Lee, since this fiscal note came in quite late. Maybe Mr. Lee, if you could review that for the committee so everyone's up to speed on it.
Certainly, Mr. Chair and committee members, the fiscal note for House File 1204 that just came in during committee time here has a net $1,000 cost to the Driver and Vehicle Services special revenue accounts, particular to vehicle services. And that's a net of two of revenue and expenditures. There's about $1,000 cost for design, that's one time, and then about $1,000 cost for making the plates. DVS recoups the plate cost from fees generated by people purchasing it in the assumptions. DPS is assuming about 100 of these plates would be issued a year. And then for committee members that have the fiscal note that just came in on page 3, it lists the assumptions and details the plate assumptions and the fee revenue assumptions. So it's a net $1,000 cost, and then there's essentially money in, money out for the year in, year out plate issuance.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. And I have a question for Mr. Lee. Is this a fairly typical kind of thing when we do these special plates bills?
Mr. Chair and members, yes, that's correct. One other thing that I forgot to mention is that DVS is also assuming that they can absorb the programming costs to the driver and vehicle system in their existing budget.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My only just question was, it seems to me that I've seen $20 and $30 going to the organization. This is 40. Is that one of the larger ones we normally see? I think people are willing to do whatever they wish, but it does seem like that's larger than I've seen before. Or am I wrong there? Mr. Lee.
I think that would be for Mr. Lee.
Mr. Chair and Representative Petersburg, I would have to double check on that. I think the amounts have varied. Mr. Burris might have some more background, but I'd have to get back to the committee on the historic rates for plates.
I was just curious. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Are there any further questions from the committee? Okay, well, I'm not seeing any. Any questions that also to the fiscal note? That again, they came in rather late, and we don't have a 24-hour rule necessarily for fiscal notes, but we do. We don't like to pass bills out of committee without them. So, we're technically, I think, okay on this, but I want to make sure if there's any objection from the committee, or concern, not necessarily objection, but anyone
Mr.
on the
Chair?
committee has any concerns about that. Representative Petersburg.
Thank you. Were you laying this over or were you sending this out?
Well, I think what we'd like to do is send this to Ways and Means, but again, if members have concerns about the fiscal note, I'm willing to delay action.
I'm okay with it. So
it's not typical. Okay, it's again, just for the public, it's not, we normally have a chance to review these fiscal notes. This literally came in during committee time, so we want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with the discussion we've had on the fiscal note and its accuracy. So, Representative Petersburg.
Yeah,
is your hand still up?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to comment that this fiscal note doesn't really bring in anything different than we've seen in other bills like this. It's not really a surprise. There aren't anything that I see as red flags in the fiscal note. So I think it's okay, at least for us to move ahead with sending it to Ways and Means, in my opinion.
I would concur. So, Representative Wolgamott, do you have any additional comments or questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I want to take this moment just to thank, with all my heart, to thank our testifiers today. Eric and Megan, thank you on behalf of the entire Minnesota House of Representatives. Thank you for what you have done, your service to keep Minnesotans safe. We are just heart full of gratitude for you and your service. So thank you and God bless you. And you've really warmed our hearts today and inspired each and every one of us. So thank you for what you've done. Absolutely. And we will take your courage today and we will use that as motivation to pass this bill out of this committee to Ways and Means so that we can continue to have the backs of your colleagues and first responders all throughout the state to support them and their families who sacrifice so much so that we can go about our lives, so we can live in the land of the free and enjoy our time with our loved ones. So with all my heart, thank you. And Mr. Chair and members, I appreciate you for hearing this bill, and I ask for your support to send this to Ways and Means so that we can have the backs of Minnesota's first responders and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Wolgamott. So I see no further discussion, and I'll renew my motion that House File 1204 as amended be re-referred to the Ways and Means Committee. Mr. Dodge, please take the roll.
Chair Hornstein?
Aye.
Hornstein, aye. Vice Chair Cagle?
Aye.
Cagle, aye. Representative Petersburg?
Aye.
Petersburg, aye. Representative Barr?
No.
Barr, nay. Representative Bernardi?
Aye.
Bernardi, aye. Representative Elkins?
Aye.
Elkins, aye. Representative Frederick?
Aye.
Frederick, aye. Representative Hausman?
Aye.
Hausman, aye. Representative Heinrich?
Aye.
Heinrich, aye. Representative Kosnick?
Aye.
Kosnick, aye. Representative Mason? Representative Mason? Representative Murphy?
Murphy, aye.
Murphy, aye. Representative Nelson?
Nelson, aye.
Nelson, aye. Representative Olson?
Aye.
Olson, aye. Representative Richardson?
Aye.
Richardson, aye. Representative Torkelson?
Aye.
Torkelson, aye. Representative West?
Aye.
West, aye. There are 15 ayes and 1 nay.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge. There being 15 ayes and 1 nay, the bill is referred to the Ways and Means Committee. Thank you, Representative Wolgamott. Nice to see you again, and look forward to further deliberations on both of your bills. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members.
Members, we're going to now move to House File 586. We're running a little bit behind. So it would be my intention to hear House File 586 from Representative Murphy, House File 1232 from Representative Petersburg. I'm pretty sure we can get to Representative Huot's bill. We'll have to, move quickly to do that. And then the bill that I have, which is the DVS bill, we're not going to get to that for sure. So I just wanted to let folks know that for the DPS policy bill, will very likely have to go on this evening. And we're hoping we can get in Representative Huot's bill, but otherwise we do have plenty of time at 5 o'clock to get to these. So, but for sure, let's make sure we can get Representative Murphy and Representative Petersburg in before 2:30. So with that, Representative Murphy, this is your first transportation bill as a Transportation Committee member. So welcome to that important event. And would you like to move your bill 586 to the General Register?
I would, Mr. Chair, if that's what you wish it, where you wish it to go.
I think it would be appropriate for that. So
All right.
we have House File 586 moved to the General Register. Representative Murphy, to your bill.
Thank you very much. And thank you, members of the committee, for this initiation. House File 586 has been around for some time, I'm told. It was delivered to my office, and I thought, what is this about? And then I got a follow-up message from John Dukic at the Department of Transportation, and it is a bill that they have seen a necessity for. But in its former world, it had too much in it. And so we severely simplified the bill. And it is something that is a statewide need. And House File 586 clarifies the definition of volunteer driver for the nonprofits across the state and county programs across the state that provides individual volunteers to drive their car, their tires, their vehicles, and pick up people that don't have any other way to get somewhere, like to the dentist or the doctor or to the movie or to the groceries. People, all senior citizens or all citizens do not have automobiles or transportation, public transportation systems across the state. But the volunteer driver is not an Uber. It is not a taxi. It is not a bus driver. It's a neighbor that cares about their neighbors and wants to make sure that seniors, predominantly senior citizens across the state are getting where they have to go when they have to go without creating unintentional consequences to family members or having not giving up going to the dentist because they don't have anybody to ask to get there. And so this just very simply simplifies the definition of volunteer driver, and it passed out of Commerce Committee 16-0 to go to transportation. And I hope it'll pass out of this committee the same way.
Thank you, Representative Murphy. Do we want to have Mr. Dukic testify, or is he just available as a resource?
I think either one. If you want more testimony or from somebody that's an expert, we can call on him. But if you're
Okay.
satisfied and don't have questions.
Well, let's hear briefly from Mr. Dukic, just so we can hear some of his expertise around this issue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Mr.
Dukic, welcome to the committee.
Mr. Chair, members, for the record, John Dukic with MnDOT Office of Government Affairs. And I'd like to begin by thanking Representative Murphy for authoring this bill, and you, Mr. Chair, for taking the time today to hear it. I know you're pressed for time, so I will keep my comments brief. I did want to mention that this bill represents a collaborative effort between MnDOT, the Departments of Commerce and Human Services, as well as the Minnesota Association for Justice and the Minnesota Public Transit Association, to address an issue where some volunteer drivers are being perceived and essentially misclassified by some insurance agent as transportation network company drivers or commercial vehicle drivers, which they are not. And this misclassification can lead to an increase in premiums for volunteer drivers, or in some cases, the decision by potential volunteers to forego this experience due to changes in insurance coverage. And as Representative Murphy mentioned, volunteer drivers use their personal vehicle and receive mileage reimbursements to assist people in their transportation needs, whether it's taking them to the doctor or the grocery store or to run other errands. And so this bill essentially classifies what a volunteer driver is and what a volunteer driver is not. And specifically, the bill defines a volunteer driver in Chapter 65B as an individual who transports persons or goods on behalf of a nonprofit entity or governmental unit in a private passenger vehicle and receives no compensation for services provided other than the reimbursement of actual expenses. It goes on to clarify that a commercial vehicle driver is not a volunteer driver, and it clarifies some insurance statutes around canceling coverage or reducing liability coverage simply because someone's a volunteer driver. And lastly, and maybe most importantly for this committee, the bill updates transportation-related statutes where the term volunteer driver is used to make it clear that it has the meaning provided in Chapter 65B.472. And so we hope that this bill provides some clarity to volunteer drivers across the state and helps ensure they continue to provide the crucial services for those who most need it. That concludes my testimony, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dukic. Are there any questions of the author or the testifier? Hey, seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. Representative Murphy, do you have any final comments?
No, I just think it helps. This helps people in the neighborhood and in the community, that it gives them another resource to use so they don't have to be isolated in their homes.
Thank you for bringing this House file to us, Representative Murphy. And with that, we will take the roll. I'll renew my motion that House file, or I will rule Representative Murphy's motion that House File 586 be referred to the General Register. Mr. Dodge, please take the roll.
Chair Hornstein,
Aye.
Hornstein, aye. Vice Chair Cagle.
Aye.
Cagle, aye. Representative Petersburg.
Aye.
Petersburg, aye. Representative Barr.
Aye.
Barr, aye. Representative Bernardi.
Aye.
Bernardi, aye. Representative Elkins. Representative Elkins. Representative Frederick.
Aye.
Frederick, aye. Representative Hausman.
Aye.
Hausman, aye. Representative Heinrich.
Aye.
Heinrich, aye. Representative Kosnick.
Aye.
Kosnick, aye. Representative Mason. Representative Mason. Representative Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Murphy, aye. Representative Nelson.
Nelson, aye.
Nelson, aye. Representative Olson.
Aye.
Olson, aye. Representative Richardson.
Aye.
Richardson, aye. Representative Torkelson.
Aye.
Torkelson, aye. Representative West.
Aye.
West, aye. There are 15 ayes and 0 nays.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge. There being 15 ayes and 0 nays, House File 586 is moved to the General Register. Members, we're now going, thank you very much, Representative Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the committee.
We're now going to move to Representative Peterson's bill, Petersburg's bill, and this is House File 1232. What I'd like to do, members, is if we could set aside some 15 minutes or so for this House file. And if we're not done, I know that Representative Huot has a student who wanted to testify before his bill and wanted to make sure that student was able to testify, get her testimony in, and then if we're unable to debate that bill before 2:30, we'll do that after recess. But I want to make sure again that testifier has a chance to testify per our original schedule. So, Representative Petersburg, House File 1232. I think we're going to move that for possible inclusion. And I understand you have an amendment.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have the DE1 amendment for the bill that corrects something. And before we introduce that bill, I just want to let you know that the bill originated in the Senate and it looked pretty simple. But I made a mistake and I didn't have our friend Matt Burris review it, and he caught some changes that needed to be done. It doesn't change the bill any, except that when we talked about increasing the fees for the driver's license part of it, we forgot about the initial brand new fee. This only talked about the renewal. So this is the correction the DE1 bill is, and then what the then there's some language, just clarification. So Mr. Burris, I think, is willing to kind of review those changes and the bill.
Thank you, Representative Petersburg. Thank you, Mr. Burris. Mr. Burris to the DE1.
Mr. Chair and members, so as Representative Petersburg outlined, the DE1 contains a series of technical changes as well as a update to establish that the fee increase would apply to initial license issuances when somebody first gets a Minnesota license with the motorcycle endorsement, that the fee increase would apply in that case, as well as cases of duplicate and renewal license issuances. So a lot of the language change that is seen or shown in the delete all amendment is technical in nature, to centralize the fee structure, clarify the effective date, modernize a bit of the language, and revise the structure in one of the subdivisions to more clearly establish what each of the fee components are. And I can go into further detail if there are other questions on the changes in the DE.
Thank you, Mr. Burris. Are there any questions to the DE1 amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of incorporating the DE1 amendment, I'll move that, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion prevails. So we have House File 1232 as amended before us. Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so, as you might know, We have driver's education in schools and other things for cars, but we don't really do much for education and driving in regards to two-wheeled vehicles called motorcycles. And a group, ABATE, which stands for American Bikers for Awareness, Training, and Education, really supports that particular program and develops strategies and curriculum for increasing the safety and training of our motorcycle riders. Now, the motorcycle riding has started to decline, but the need for the training is still there. And with the lower numbers, there is a fund that has been set up in which these fees had been going into in order to support that. And that fund is going to no longer be able to cover the expenses of that training. And so they have asked if this bill could be introduced in which it increases the fees to just the people that are driving motorcycles in order to help self-fund the safety and awareness of their program. And so that's this bill in a nutshell. And I do believe, Mr. Chair, that we do have a testifier. My understanding is it changed from what my last notice was, so I'm not even sure who that is at this point.
Okay, yeah, originally we had Mr. Ernst, but if there's someone from ABATE that is available to testify, please, now's the time to introduce yourself for the committee. Welcome to the Transportation Committee, and please state your name for the record.
Mr. Chairman, members, this is Frank Ernst with
Oh,
ABATE.
Mr. Ernst, wonderful, thank you.
Our goal is to provide more funding to maintain and or improve rider training and motorcycle safety. Minnesota has excellent rider training programs. Unfortunately, funding is threatening some of these programs. We need to be sure the courses remain available, and we need to encourage participation. Many of our serious and fatal injuries in Minnesota result from single vehicle crashes. Many of these crashes happen while negotiating curves or corners. Our rider trainings programs address these issues, spend a good deal of their time on them, but if we don't get people into the classes, they don't do us any good. We need to do what we can to promote training to all riders at all skill levels, basic, intermediate, advanced, and expert. We need to keep classes at all levels close to home to have a minimum traveling distance. Some of the classes that require more than 1 day of riding time would, if people had to travel, require an additional overnight lodging cost, and we would like to try and eliminate some of that. From 2020 to 2021, the basic rider course fee increased from $195 to $245 to offset some of the other costs. The proposal we have here would prevent some of these additional increases being necessary. It's a simple $8 fee for the first time somebody gets their endorsement. And after that, for those of us that have a motorcycle endorsement, we would pay $4 additionally once every 4 years. So in other words, $1 a year, a very, very small fee to pay. And the motorcyclists are willing to pay for it. Minnesota motorcyclists have a history of doing our part. We're the ones that advocated for and worked with the legislator years ago to bring about rider training and to create the motorcycle safety program and create funding sources for it. When alcohol-related crashes were a big part of the fatalities in Minnesota, ABATE of Minnesota stepped up and we formed an organization called Motorcycle Dial-A-Ride. It's supported by, manned by, and funded by motorcyclists to keep impaired riders off the road. Now we find it's time that we need to make some additional changes to help our rider training program. What do we want to happen? We want to maintain or improve our rider training program. We want to increase availability of classes, improve communication to make motorcyclists aware of traveling, make motorcyclists aware of and eliminate traveling distance. And we want to do all of this with motorcyclist dollars. This change was suggested by ABATE of Minnesota, is supported by the Motorcyclists of Minnesota, and has been proposed to the Minnesota Motorcycle Safety Advisory Task, who voted in favor of supporting this bill. So, Mr. Chairman and members, we would encourage your support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ernst. Are there any questions of Mr. Ernst or the author at this moment? I don't see any. Representative Petersburg, we're laying House File 1232 as amended for possible inclusion in the omnibus bill, but wanted to see if you had any concluding comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to say that motorcycle safety not only impacts motorcycle riders, but also the public in general, because as they ride safer, we are also easier to negotiate motorcycles and so forth. I used to ride a motorcycle when I was real young, and it was amazing how many people didn't bother giving me the entire lane before they passed me. They would just pass right over the middle of the dividing line. So it's important, and I just thank you for your support, and I thank you for the committee to hearing it.
Thank you for bringing this bill forward, Representative Petersburg. I know we have a number of motorcycle enthusiasts on the committee, and of course, our former colleague, Representative Mark Uglam. Uglam was, he's, I think, cycled all the way to Alaska and back in recent times here. So it is definitely something that is a very important part of our safety agenda here in this committee. So thank you, Mr. Ernst. Thank you, Representative Petersburg. With that, we are laying over House File 1232 as amended for possible inclusion of the Transportation Omnibus. Members, as I mentioned before, for those of you who are here for the DPS policy bill, we are going to take that up at 5 p.m. At 5 p.m. after recess. But I do believe we do have time now. We have a hard stop, Representative Huot, at 2:30, as you know, with our limitations here. So I want to make sure we get your testifiers in at least. And so Representative Huot, welcome to the Transportation Committee, and I'm going to move House File 1675 to the Committee on Ways and Means. And I understand you have an amendment as well, if you'd like to incorporate that, and then we'll move very quickly to your testifiers so that they don't have to come back at 5.
Thank you. I'd like to incorporate the amendment.
Okay, and that is an amendment to get the bill in the shape you'd want. Just maybe 30 seconds what the amendment does, the A1.
I have to consult with staff with some technical fixes with this and put it in line. So
Mr. Burris. Okay, good. Mr. Burris.
Mr. Chair and members, the amendment would create a reference to the current fee table that's in place for special plates instead of independently setting a different fee level.
Thank you, Mr. Burris. Is there discussion to the A1? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion prevails, and the A1 is before us. And again, the motion before us is for House File 1675 as amended to go to the Ways and Means Committee. Representative Huot, do you want to briefly talk about your bill, or should we move right to Ms. Arsvold and Laney Sweers?
Mr. Chair, let's move to the testifiers. If I have to come back tonight, I will.
Okay, wonderful. And I think our testifiers can give us some perspective on the bill. I think we heard this last biennium. I think Representative Poppy was the author. Ms. Arsvold, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record.
Thank you so much, Val Arsvold.
Proceed with your testimony.
All right, thank you so much, Chairman Harcine and committee members. Thanks for the opportunity. On behalf of current and future FFA and 4-H members in Minnesota, I ask for your support of the House Bill 1675 to initiate a specialized agricultural license plate that would not only celebrate the importance of agriculture in our state, but allow Minnesota citizens to take an active role in providing support of agricultural programs as delivered by FFA and 4-H. Minnesota FFA has a rich history and a bright future in preparing young people to be leaders for agriculture and in their local communities. There are over 35,000 students enrolled in agriculture, food, and natural resource classes in grades 7 through 12, of which nearly 11,000 have chosen to participate in the FFA. These programs are offered at more than 200 schools across our state, from both rural to urban schools. We have strong programs in the St. Paul School District, and we are especially excited that this year we are launching programs in the Minneapolis School District. FFA involvement is intercurricular and focused on helping students develop their leadership skills, career success, and personal growth. These students are developing skills that will prepare them for careers in the career pathways of agriculture business systems, animal systems, biotechnology, food products and processing, natural resource and environmental systems, plant systems, and power, structure, and technical systems. At the same time that Minnesota FFA is doing great things, Minnesota 4-H is doing their part in developing leaders for our communities. With programs in every county in Minnesota, more than 50,000 members are enrolled in agricultural products, which include, but are not limited to, the areas of livestock, veterinary science, agricultural ambassadors, and the Science of Agriculture program. So why a license plate? With the current economic challenge within the agricultural sector, we are working to secure funds for the important work of FFA and 4-H. A specialized license plate would give Minnesotans a voluntary way to show their support. This type of plate is already established in 15 other states and has really been useful in providing additional funds and generating pride. Minnesota auto owners are very receptive to paying additional fees to support causes they value. For calendar year 2019, there were over 665,000 special plates in circulation. So why invest in this type of program?
Ms. Swears, Ms. Arswold, I want to make sure we get Ms. Swears in. If it's okay, if we make sure, and then we can return to you if that's okay.
Yep, that's just fine. I was going to say,
Okay.
I would lead you. The best way is to hear from our students. So by all means.
Yes, thank you so much for your flexibility, Ms. Arswold. Is Lainey Swears on the call?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Ms. Swears, if you want to proceed with your testimony, please state your name for the record. And we do have a need to stop in 4 minutes, but I hope that gives you enough time. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you. My name is Lainey Swears. So thank you, Chairman Horstein and committee members. My name is Lainey Swears. I grew up on a small hobby farm in Bijou, Minnesota. I'm a recent graduate of Monoman High School, and I'm proud to be representing FFA and 4-H today. I'm currently serving as a Minnesota FFA State Sentinel and a Monoman County 4-H Ambassador and Federation Officer. Both organizations have shaped me into the person I am today, and I can confidently say that they have helped me choose my career path as an agricultural education teacher. From a young age, I knew that I wanted to be involved in agriculture. However, I did not know the many diverse and unique opportunities that agriculture provides. Without 4-H and FFA, I would not have developed the true passion I have for agriculture. For so many young people in Minnesota, FFA and 4-H have provided students with the knowledge and skills needed to be successful in their personal and professional lives. For me, these organizations have helped me gain an abundance of leadership skills and confidence as I prepare for my future career. Before 9th grade, I didn't enjoy school. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my future and had no plans of continuing my education. I didn't know where my purpose in life was, but in 9th grade, I was able to take my first agriculture class and join FFA. I instantly felt a place of belonging and looked forward to going to school. The summer after my freshman year of high school, I was able to attend a career and exploration camp held by Minnesota FFA. We traveled all around the state of Minnesota and visited different colleges and businesses in correlation to the agricultural industry. As part of the trip, we traveled to Crookston. It was here that I learned more about the University of Minnesota Crookston and fell in love with the campus and the people. The agricultural education professor talked to me about Ag Ed as a major and expressed how strong the program was. From there on out, I was determined to graduate and make my way to UMC so I could begin college. Fast forward to now, and I am in my second semester of college, and I'm loving every minute of it. Through 4-H, I gained a passion for agriculture. FFA helped me further develop my passion and lay out a career to plan and join this noble field. These organizations are life-changing, and if I had more time today, I could tell you hundreds of stories from other Minnesota youth on how they are being positively impacted every single day because 4-H and FFA. In conclusion, your support of the Specialized Agricultural License Plate Bill would mean a lot to me and thousands of 4-H and FFA members across the state. It would provide opportunities for students so they are able to experience valuable programs like I did. Those programs include leadership and career conferences, camps, and other project work. The funds generated from the license plate bill will help ensure students can participate in regardless of their economic situation. FFA and 4-H have been life-changing to me. Today, you have heard a bit about my story, but I guarantee you that there are many, many more that would join me in sharing the value of 4-H and FFA. Thank you for your time today and the opportunity to share my story.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sweers, for your very articulate and helpful testimony. We really appreciate your being here. Members, we do have, again, a hard stop here at 2:30 because of our limitations here with Zoom and House Research's or House Media Services requirements. So if it's okay, Ms. Arsvold, if we could, is it okay if you can come back and complete your testimony at 5 p.m.?
Mr. Chairman, yes, I'm available at 5.
Okay, and Representative Huot as well? Okay, so members, we are going to recess this committee until 5 p.m., return on the same frequency. We will take up Representative Hewitt's bill first, then we'll do the DVS or DPS policy bill, and then we'll do our 3 bills related to small cities funding, road funding. So with that, members, this committee is in recess. We'll see you at 5 o'clock.